I've got an incredible human being with me today. His name is Moses, and he is the creator of the most incredible after school care program called Pride Lands in Wellington, New Zealand. My kids went there, and so I know firsthand how incredible Moses is. His heart and his soul, his spirit, and everything goes into the children. And that is what really, inspired me to send my own children to Pride Lands, is the spirit and the heart. He is a heart-led human being that cares about children, and he really knows that they are our future. So I'm so happy to have you here, Moses.
Thank you very much, Schamet. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, you're really awakening that new feminine paradigm in the way that you are doing your business and the way that you inspire children to step into their full potential is beautiful. So thank you, Moses, for the work that you do on the planet. It's really, really important and really powerful.
Thanks for the compliment, Schamet. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So my first question for you today is, what does leadership mean to you?
I guess we all have our own definition of what leadership means. For me personally, as an individual, leadership is about seeing to other people's needs, not so much yours. Where I'm from and where I was brought up in my village back in West Africa, it's all about serving others. Because when you're in the position to serve other people, it's a great honor. Because one day your time will come and others will serve you. It's basically a cycle of life. And I think if the world were to embrace that form of leadership whereby we all develop that sense of serving others, it's no different from being served as well, because when you serve others, others serve you in return. It's not a one-way street, it's actually two-way. And that's the true meaning, in my opinion, of community. And leadership is all about doing it together. It's all about being there for others, and others will in turn be there for you. And that is how I see leadership.
Wonderful, wonderful. And do you see yourself as a leader?
I see myself as a leader in my own right. And while I've come across so many ways of leading in a community, I see myself as the kind of leader that is there to inspire leadership out of people, within people, because we all have a sense of leadership. We all have it within us. Some of us recognize it sooner than others. Others don't recognize it at all. So my idea of being a leader, or seeing myself as a leader, is basically making other people realize that potential in them, that quality that lies dormant in them. So seeing myself as a leader is not just going out there and telling people what to do. It's basically inspiring people so that they can lead others as well, so that they can inspire others. So it's a chain reaction. So discovering who I am as a leader, I don't go around leading others by getting them to follow me. I inspire them to inspire others. So that is my concept of being a leader, is simply going out there and inspiring others. It's as simple as that.
What a beautiful answer. I love that so much. Yeah, great. And what does old paradigm leadership mean to you?
Well, I guess old paradigm leadership, in my opinion, is maybe, I guess, once upon a time, a form of leadership that is basically designed to just, to simply have someone you class as a leader, and then people just follow. But things change. The world is changing. The world has evolved. And while once upon a time, old paradigm leadership is what people needed, or is how humans have evolved through time. I believe perhaps the new paradigm leadership is what I'm much more keen on and interested in, which basically is, is all about leading from within, because I believe in leading from within. Being in front, being behind, and being in front and telling others to follow you is all true. It's all true and great, but you have to be willing to make that sacrifice. It's all about protecting the people behind you. It's all about being there and protecting them, and not just leading for the sake of leading, and not just being there to allow or wish for others to serve you because you've declared yourself as a leader or as someone that needs to be followed. I believe in leading from within, leading among the people, the joy of being surrounded by people who trust and believe in you and know you will protect them is far more important than feeling super powered and being ahead. That is, to me, it's not leadership. That you have to be among the people and it's no different from being at Pride Lands, being surrounded by all these children who feel safe around you, and you be willing to do anything for them, literally anything. That is, in my opinion, should be the new, the new paradigm in myself, in my belief. So yeah.
Yeah, what's coming to mind as I'm hearing you speak is, and I'm not sure where I heard this. I think it was from Jesus, where he said, feed a man a fish and you'll feed him for a day, but teach him how to fish, and then you feed him for life. And
That's right. Yeah.
you
No,
know, yeah.
you're absolutely right, because you can't help people, you can't lead people by trying to lead them for the rest of their lives, because the fact is, as human beings, we have a fixed lifespan. At some point that candle will go out, and that is part of life. That is what nature intended. So nature has given us that window of opportunity to pass on that knowledge, that inspiration, that power into others, so that they can have a better life moving forward. And and I think that's how we should lead. That is how it should be, as nature intended. And if you do that, you give the next generation a greater chance of success, because you've passed on that power, that spirit, that inspiration. You've shared it among them, and they have the power to move on. They have the power to feed themselves. They have the power to clothe themselves. They have the power to be able to survive in the natural world.
Beautiful. Yeah. My son Octavius's school, the class motto is, take the light and pass it on. And I
Yeah.
love
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. No, it's great. And it's important because, let's be honest, the light we carry, is nothing short of inspiration. The experiences we carry from our time on earth is nothing short of inspiration. It's meant to be shared. It's meant to be passed on. It's like a baton. You have to pass it on so that the next generation can do better, can do far better than we have, can survive in a changing world. And and you can't call yourself a leader if you're not prepared to pass it on.
Yeah, I love that so much, Moses. And I got to witness you firsthand working with my two children. And what I saw and witnessed is that you have an incredible ability of bringing that light out in each child of what their strengths are and switching them on through inspiration.
Yeah.
And that was really wow, that's incredible that Moses can do that. And then you're teaching everyone that works for you how to do that as well by modeling it.
Yeah.
And, and I saw the best in my two boys, not only switch on, but then grow. And they've never forgotten that. They still talk about it to this day. They have a huge amount of respect. and love for you and what you do. And so, just want to say this for you, Moses, that, I'm sending my oldest to camp this weekend with you on your adventure weekend, and love everything that you're doing with Pride Lands. But right at the end, remind me, because I'm going to ask you to share your vision of what's happening. It's really exciting. But we'll continue with the leadership. So my next question is, what leaders have really inspired you?
My grandfather is my biggest and will always be my greatest inspiration. He had a part in my upbringing, and it's not by choice, because I was born and given the opportunity for my grandparents to raise me. I believe the Maori culture in New Zealand have something similar, and I was very lucky. I feel lucky that my grandfather had a part in my life, and so did, and I will acknowledge, so did many others. So it's not just my grandfather. There are many others as you move in life. So I want to acknowledge everyone who's had a part in my upbringing, who's had a part in my growth and development. But my grandfather had the biggest impact because he always encouraged me to see things for what it is and not pretend it's something else. When you see a table, it's a table. It's not a bed. You could turn a table into a bed by putting some soft things on it and lying on it. You can transform it, but its original makeup is a table. And he taught me to appreciate and live life to the full. But in doing so, make sure I share those experiences with others, because that is the best way to learn. But making sure that when I do so without causing harm to anyone. I do so by making sure that my intent is pure, and it must remain so and consistent, because he put a lot of emphasis on consistency. He says the world, as human beings, we are naturally deceptive, and we do so as a result of selfishness. And selfishness is one of human beings' greatest weakness. We deny it, we pretend it doesn't exist, and yet we live on it on and on again. So he taught me to try and have whatever I do to try and have that contained and to have that under control. But I also have to be upfront with people. And he says you can live your best life by simply doing what's right and what you believe in. So in my case, I believe in, and I always have and always will, I believe in young people. I believe in tomorrow. And everything I'm doing today is for the benefit of tomorrow. So if you take Pride Lands, for example, I dedicated Pride Lands to the next generation to serve them, because I know if there's anyone that can make this world a better place, anyone at all, I hate to say it, it's not me. I hate to say it, it's not the adults who are here right now, because the adults who are here right now have their own agendas and plans. But if I can pass on my knowledge, if I can pass on my experience, if I can give the next generation the best chance, the best access to knowledge, opportunity, the best life, then I have literally maximized the opportunity for them to make the world a better place. Not just for me when I become an old man, not just for me, not just for the adults here, but for themselves and moving forward. Because I feel that what my grandfather has done is open my eyes to and my mind to truth, that this is where the world is. This is what the world is. You can be better, but you have to choose to be better. And he always encouraged me to be better and to fight no matter how hard it gets, no matter how tiring it gets, no matter how beaten down I get, that I should fight for what I truly believe in. And I must admit I have. And it's quite an enjoyable experience. It was difficult, I admit. It has been a very long journey, a tiring journey, an exhausting one, but the result is worth it because I see it in the children. I see that transformation. I see that change. And it makes me very happy to know that I have taken something my grandfather has explained to me in theory and applied it in practical terms. And I can actually see the transformation. And I'm grateful to him. I am honored and privileged to be his grandson. And I wish he was alive to see what I've done. I really do. So yeah, so my grandfather is and will always be my greatest inspiration.
What is your grandfather's name?
Okay. Okereke Chukwu Ariama. In fact, I named one of my sons after him as well. So
Oh, beautiful,
yeah.
Moses.
Okereke Chukwu Ariama. So yeah.
Oh, it just brought tears to my eyes. That's so beautiful. Yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful to your grandfather because he's living on through you.
Yeah, I mean, I needed to keep his name alive. I needed to remind myself, of my purpose in life. I have to remind myself somehow. Creating Pride Lands was one way of doing so. Naming one of my sons after his grandfather is a way of reminding myself I need to stay on point. I need to stay on track because sometimes I admit it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget why you do what you do, but keeping those reminders around me helps me stay on point and helps me stay on track so that I don't forget. So yeah.
I love that. It is such a beautiful experience having children and having that reflection back on a daily basis. So yeah, wonderful. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I love that so much. Wow. Love that generational mana and power that comes through, passing the light on. So thank you for continuing to pass the light forward and on. Oh, this really hit quite hard. A lot of what I do is because of my grandmother too. So I have a lot of understanding of what that means and the emotion in it. So thank you so much. So I've got a really big question for you. This is the biggest one. So prepare yourself. If you were all of a sudden made leader of the world, what would you do? What would be the first things that you would address to make this world a better place?
That is a big one. Oh, first and foremost, I would prefer not to be because I don't believe one person has the right to lead an entire population of the world. I believe we all have our own sense of should have our own sense of power. We should all have our own sense of strength and courage within us to lead ourselves, to work with each other towards a common goal. And for me, I guess I'll put it this way. My grandfather always said, he conducted a small experiment whereby he said, right, who would you serve? Your grandmother or myself? I said, I'll serve you both. He said, what if you can't serve us both? Because my grandfather's belief is that you can never serve two masters at a time. You have to choose one. If you were put in a position to choose one, who would you serve? If you have two masters who want you to do something different at the same time, who would you choose? It was a very difficult task. In fact, it was one of the most difficult questions I've ever been posed in my entire life. Serving my grandmother or my grandfather I told my grandfather, I will serve you both. He says, what if you can't? We want two different things in opposite directions. He said, one day I will be faced with that question and I will have to make a choice. Serving, leading, and serving an entire world is a burden. And it could create, I hate to say it, a monster out of a good man or a good woman. And it should, in my opinion, should never be allowed, because the side effects is too great. It could be one or the other. It could create a monster or it could create a burden. And no human being should be given such level of power. It could destroy a human being. And it's not fair if it becomes a burden. So if one day I woke up and I was given the opportunity to lead the free world, I would rather lead from within. I'll lead among them. I'll be with everyone. I'll be inside. I'll be with them. And my intent will be to inspire everyone to lead themselves, to share that power, give it back to their people. Just give it back and say, you know what? You can do this. Why don't you lead yourself? Why don't you lead your family? Why don't you lead each other? Why don't we do this together? If it is the harvest season, why don't we harvest together? If it is the planting season, why don't we plant together? I would prefer not to tell people this is the season to plant, because one of the things I love growing up in my village, when we wake up in the morning, everyone knows their chores. My grandfather, being a tribe leader, didn't have to ask anyone to do anything. And that is my idea of leadership. Everyone adored him. Everyone admired him. Everyone looked to him for advice. But you know what? He never had to give it, because he had already given up that power to everyone. So when we wake up in the morning, the men knew to go hunting. At 5 a.m., went hunting. The farmers went to the farm. The children played, because that's what children did. Some of the women who do the weaving, we all had our chores. We all knew what to do. And it is because my grandfather had given us all the power to do so. And so we did not wait for instruction. We just did it, because everyone felt comfortable. Everyone felt they had the power. They had the independence to simply do what needed to be done for the purpose of our community. So, yeah, if I was the leader of the free world, I would give that power away. And it's not because I don't want to have the burden. I'll be honored to serve the free world, and I'll serve them by sharing it with everyone. Say, take it. Let's do this together. Let's make the world a better place. All the artists, do all the art you could possibly do to make the world beautiful. All the farmers, bring all the crops and share it with everyone. All the hunters, bring all the meat and let's celebrate. Just do what you naturally do and do it to the best of your capabilities.
I love that, Moses. I love that so much. And it feels like a full circle to our conversation as well. And I love that you're saying leading the free world, because in, what I'm reading from your answer and your, what you shared is that is freedom.
Yes.
The free world is being free to be.
Yes.
So that's really beautiful. Thank you so much. Wow, that was gorgeous. So is there any last pearls of wisdom that you would like to share about leadership?
I believe leadership, while it has such quite a title to it, it makes it sound so big and magnificent and on a pedestal and all that. I think it's a lot simpler than people have made it to be. Leadership is it's a choice. It's when you're ready. It's when you're ready to step into the ring and do something positive for other people. Leadership should be about people wanting to care for others and be there for others and serve and do so genuinely and do so honestly and do so with kindness. And they have to believe. Any leader should believe in what they're doing. Because if you don't believe the outcome of what you're doing, you lead everyone astray. You have to believe in it. You have to be sure of oneself. You have to be sure of you before you can be sure to help others. Because I always say to my interns that you can't lead until you are sure of you. You are the key to yourself. Once you open this door, then you can open the other doors. That is what a leader is. You have to be able to open your door. Because once you open your door, you have access to the keys you need to open everybody else's door. And that's what a leader is. Somebody who's prepared to open their door first. I've come across a lot of people out there who class themselves as leaders and have worked their way up in so many job descriptions and organizations and businesses. And I can tell their door is not even open. No wonder why people don't feel comfortable around them, because they can tell the key they're trying to use to open their door doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit because it's the wrong key. Because that key they're using to open other people's door is meant for their key, their door. So they have to open their door first to access all the possible keys in there to open others. It's all about being there for others, but to be there for other people, you have to unlock your door first. And that is how I see it. People wonder how I'm able to unlock the potential in young people. It's easy. It's actually a lot easier than you think, because I've unlocked my door. I'm sure of me. And because I'm sure of me, I have the potential to unlock multiple doors. And the beauty about young people is, once they notice you're sure of yourself, they have an open mind to unlocking their potential as well. They're open to you unlocking their potential. And that's why it looks so easy when it comes to me. And I enjoy the experience. And I'm honored. I really, really am. I'm honored to be in the position I am, to unlock so many doors of young people who one day, I hope, will move forward and unlock many other doors. Because I think the world needs that. It needs everyone to be leaders within their own right. Because the more leaders we have, the better the world will become. Because imagine if you can unlock so many billions of doors, the world will become a better place.
Oh, I love that. Love that so much, Moses. It's just like all these doors opening.
That's opening, yeah. It's like butterflies just flying, and just, doors open. That's how I see leadership. That's how I see the doors, potential, opening potentials, and all these butterflies just moving. And one butterfly triggering another butterfly to fly. And the next one, and it flies, and then the next one flies, on and on and on. So yeah, that's how I see it. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I see our connection now, because that's how I see it too.
Yeah.
The work I do with women, you're working with kids, I'm working with women, and I love it when, these women that I'm working with have a transformation and they become these beautiful butterflies, and they're
Yeah.
just flying, and their
Yeah.
doors are unlocked, and they are
Yes.
who they came here to be, and it just gives me so much fulfillment. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great. You can, and for you as the original person or wherever you are, when you can sit back and enjoy everyone's potential being open, and you're thinking, oh, you know, and it's just nice, it means you've served your purpose as a leader. And a leader should not just, it should not be what the world has deemed it to be. So up there and so on. You don't have to be up there. You have to be among
you have to
the
be
joy.
in here instead of
That's
out
right.
there, right?
Exactly. Yes, you have to be in here where it's taking place, and you can enjoy the fruit of your labor. So yeah, it needs to be in here.
Yeah, beautiful, Moses. So now I'd just like to hear what's going on with Pride Lands. Can you tell us a little bit about your vision of what you've been up to and where it's going? Just because I'm curious and I want to just help get the message out there as well.
Oh, well, today is our adventure weekend. So I'm off taking a couple of young people. We're going whitewater rafting and abseiling. Yes, it'll be very, very exciting. And the beauty of adventure weekend is just to give these children the opportunity to go further, to explore, to enhance their quality, their strength, and not be afraid of the world, to be able to see the world as nothing short of a playground, because that's what the world is. When you're born and you live, you live to the full. Yeah, you do all these exciting things. So adventure weekends is only going to happen 4 times a year, which is 4 seasons. So our autumn one starts today, and I'm taking a couple of young people. We're going to the Kaitoki Regional Park, and then we'll be driving all the way to Wairarapa on a Saturday for our whitewater rafting and abseiling as well. So that's going to be very exciting. And then the biggest one, which will be the most ultimate, in my opinion, the most ultimate program, and I guess my final destination. And I see it as my final destination because unless there's room to go to space, well, it will have to be my final destination. I would love for young people, then the next generation, to have the opportunity to go and learn firsthand what happens in other countries. So just imagine for a moment going to Cambodia and learning the culture in Cambodia. No. We're talking about food. We're talking about architecture. We're talking about the animals, their forestry, their education. Being there for 4 to 5 weeks, during the summer holidays. Just go to another country and learn all you can in one beautiful summer. But it's not just Cambodia. What about Africa? Yeah. What about Europe? What about South America, Asia? Getting these children to go to different countries every year to learn about what happens in that country. Because you see, we now live in a world where everything we see is through the window of the internet. The internet, let's be honest, does have its own biases here, there, everywhere. It's being controlled by someone. But what if you can get the children to see for themselves, to hear for themselves, to experience for themselves its originality, going back to its originality, going to these countries and just gaining these experiences from its source, from its original source, and just learning about another country without anyone having to tell them or without them having to learn it from school. They go to their country, stay there for 5 weeks, learn all they can, eat as much as they can, experience as much as they can, and then return. Because I believe that it will be such a great opportunity for young people to be able to learn these things from its original source instead of just hearing about it, and it will be quite an adventure. Going to Paris, learning about Paris, the French, going to Egypt, learning about the pyramids, seeing the pyramids, getting to touch it, And, that kind of adventure, in my opinion, is the final frontier. And I intend on creating this program for these young people. Basically, I call it it's a cultural exchange. So our young people go there, and then the young people there come here, and they learn about the culture of New Zealand as well. So for me, the final frontier is our adventure program called the Pride Exchange. And I look forward to creating that in the next couple of years. So so that's the big news for everyone out there.
Wonderful news. I love that. Just lights me up. It's so exciting because I love what you said about how we hear about different cultures from school and from TV and from news. But as a world traveler myself, it's quite different when you go and you meet the people and you're in the culture. And, we just lived in Sweden for 3 years. So it's quite a different experience when you're there with the people. And then we were in Bali, which is one of our favorite places in Indonesia, for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And, staying with friends that live in the village and eating the food that they eat and hearing the stories firsthand from them, going into the temples with them. That would be a great place to take kids to. And doing ceremony and temple. It was so sacred and it was so beautiful. So I love your vision. And knowing you, because I do know you and believe in you, that it will happen.
Oh, yes. It will definitely happen, because there is, at the moment, there is nothing like it. And I am so surprised that we've denied the next generation, and many other generations for that matter, such an opportunity, because many children, especially the biggest one for me is animals. Many children watch Discovery Channel and they see all these things. And, they're so surprised by some of these animals. Some children fear some of these animals. And I grew up in a village and I'm surrounded by some of these creatures. And I hate to say it, a lot of the things that is being said about some of these animals is not true. It's just not true. And I want these children to see these animals in their natural habitat and to see how they act. Because in the zoos, some of these animals act differently because they're caged, they're restricted, their freedom, they've lost their freedom. I understand why it's being done, to protect them, to preserve them. But what if we can preserve and protect them simply by teaching the next generation how to do so in their natural habitat? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how can you teach them if you don't show them the benefits of having them in that natural habitat?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can teach them, so that they can see them in the wild. They can appreciate how they live. They can look at and go, wow, and give the next generation after them the opportunity to go to other countries and experience other people, their food, their culture, their temple, their spiritual well-being. All this will benefit the world if we simply learn from each other by going there and not just watching, not just hearing, but being there. And
full immersion.
So
it is true. When we're fully immersed in a culture, that's when we truly can connect and learn.
And understand. The biggest one is understanding. So for me, I don't spend too much time telling young people about it. I take them, and what you've seen with Adventure Weekend and Pride Escape is just the first steps of many towards our our cultural exchange.
What is Pride Escape?
Pride Escape is our summer adventure program. So last summer, which is this summer gone, I took 19 children to Westport down south. Yes, I know, it was fun. Eh? So we did blackwater rafting. We went to a couple of Maori carvers in the South Island, traditional Maori carvers. In fact, one of them cut up a couple of punamus and laid them on a table after blessing them, and got us to come around and choose a punamu. Apparently, in the Maori culture, the punamu chooses the person. And the only way you would know this is you look at which one resonates to you, which one calls to you. So I got, for me, when it was my turn and I looked up all the selection of punamu that have been blessed, this one called to me. And they got us to pick one. And this is the one I picked. And and all the children actually picked one. And this wasn't actually planned. It wasn't part of the plan. We were just having a look at the different cultures and carvers in the South Island. And one of them decided to gift us this punamu, laid them down, and then the children picked one. It was such an amazing experience. And we went to the Bulla Gorge, where we did a swing bridge, and we did a zip wire, we did gold panning, and we went to Hokitika and did glass blowing. Oh, yes. And it was amazing. Oh, we were there for a whole week.
Oh, beautiful.
And this coming summer in 2024, next year, we're going to Taupo and Rotorua for Pride Escape. So Adventure Weekend is one step. Pride Escape is the other. And then, of course, the next one is going to be the cultural exchange, because these escape programs, Adventure Weekend and Pride Escape, are ways of taking the children to go and learn about different places, to learn about how to enjoy your life to the full, to not be afraid of the real world. The world is meant to be enjoyed because we have a short span to live. And I'm teaching the children not to waste it, simply being in one place, simply focusing on the challenges of the world. You can't solve the problems of the world by handicapping yourself. You have to be ready. You have to be strong. You have to be confident. But to do so, you can't do so from where you are. You must do so by going into the world itself. And that is why taking these children on these adventure weekends to explore, to enjoy, to get out there and see the world is the key. And, and it's a great opportunity to live life to the full and pass it on to your children. When they grow up, I would love for them to encourage their children to get out and do things and have fun and, and enjoy all the things the world has got to offer. And Pride Escape and Adventure Weekend is just the beginning.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you so much. My children are already signed up for everything you're doing.
If you do something for someone again and again and again without teaching them how to do it, they'll never learn how to do it. So the moment you're no longer available to do it for them, they don't have the skills or the know-how to be able to do it for themselves. So, but if you teach them in the first instance, when you're not around, there's good news. The good news is, even though you're not around, they know how to do it themselves, and they can be able to see to themselves. A quick example. At Pride Lands, we teach cooking programs. Why do we teach cooking programs? It's not just for the fun of it, which granted is great and is fun to do when it comes to children. But a lot of the children in my program know how to cook more than a lot of the adults I know in our community. Now, why is that? It's because we have given them the tools and the skills to be able to cook basic meals for themselves. Other adults who were never given the tools from the beginning simply don't know how. And they'll have to learn now. But the question is, they don't have the desire to learn anymore because they were never taught the joys of cooking to begin with. So giving someone the tools and the means to do things for themselves is far more important than doing it for them when they're around.
I love that so much. My two boys loved that about your program. They were so excited. They came home and they're like, I know how to cook this and I know how to do that. Mom, can I cook this? And I thought, wow, I'm going to keep sending them to Pride Lands. Something that you shared with me too really struck me, and it's going back to leadership, but in the microcosm to the macrocosm, as you said that you teach your own children very early on to clean their room. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I thought that was so interesting.
Well, these days, most children want to have their own personal space, which I think is brilliant. It's one step towards independence. And I believe it needs to be encouraged. So when it comes to my children, they have their own rooms, which is great. But I always say to them, in order to have a sense of responsibility or teach young people a sense of responsibility, you have to start with where they are. And in this case, my boys have their own room, and that is their sacred space. And as their sacred space, the only thing I require of them is to keep it clean. That's it. It's really simple. It's one step of achieving independence, but the kind of independence that teaches them to be responsible as well. So if a young person can keep their own sacred space clean, that is another step to independence or to full-fledged independence, because they take pride in themselves. They take pride in keeping their rooms clean, and it's teaching them to actually take that characteristics from just a room into other environments. So if they use the lounge, they will know to keep the lounge clean. The kitchen the same, school the same. So starting from where they are is what you call ground zero. So in ground zero, which is their personal space, if they can keep it clean, you can take that concept and evolve it into other spaces. And before you know it, any young person who can keep their rooms clean can keep any other environment clean as well. And it develops that sense of independence even further.
I love that, because you're actually teaching them how to be a leader of themselves by
Precisely.
cleaning the room, and that's foundational for everything else to be built.
And it's
Yeah.
always good to start from there, because if you try to get a young person to clean a foreign environment, even though they've made a mess, granted, even though they've caused a mess in a foreign environment, it's a lot hard for them to clean a foreign environment, because it's not their environment, because they don't even clean their own room, so they can't make that connection. But if you start from where they are, it's almost planting a seed you can be reassured or rest assured will grow into a tree. Once you plant that seed will grow into a seedling and will grow into a stable, strong tree. And how do you do so? By evolving that concept from the room into the kitchen, into the lounge, and then, of course, outside of the house.
I love that so much, Moses. And it goes back to how important the foundation is to build the independence and the sovereignty in our young people, because they are our future. So yeah. I love that, Moses. I love that so much. Is there anything that you want to share about the upcoming summit and our conversation? Because it was really, really great. It was really good.
Are we talking about in regards to Adventure Weekend or Pride Escape or cultural exchange?
You could talk a little bit about whatever you want to talk about.
All right. Well, I'm taking a group of young people on Adventure Weekend today, which will be quite exciting. In fact, your son is one of them. And one thing he doesn't know is that he's doing abseiling as well as whitewater rafting. So just so you know, I thought I'd keep a little surprise in there. So the purpose, of course, the adventure programs is to get young people to enhance their independence even further. And, it's just one step into our Pride Escape program, which we run in different cities across the country. And eventually our cultural exchange, which I hope to one day create, and it's going to be what I call the final frontier. And the purpose of the cultural exchange is to give young people the opportunity to go to different countries, learn from it, the original source, about their culture, their food, the adventures their country could offer, and of course, the education that comes with it. learning about the native wildlife, learning about, their education system, their politics, understanding these things is very important because it does add to every young person's, social development and, memory banks, and of course, their development as well. And of course, and looking forward to the summit that Schamet, you're about to launch, on your platform. It would be great to hear many of these other leaders and hear, of course, how different people perceive leadership. Because, for me as an individual, I see myself as the kind of leader who works on the ground. I like to be on the ground. I like to keep my feet on the ground because you can't make a difference if you're so far up off the ground, in my opinion, anyway, because some leaders consider themselves as people who can stay up there and look on the ground and understand what is going on the ground. I don't think I can. I believe I can understand what goes on the ground by being on the ground. Because when you're among the people will be able to talk to you directly, share with you directly what is needed. But most importantly, for me, my leadership style is all about inspiration. It's all about giving up that power within me and sharing that power among other people by inspiring them to lead both themselves and others, just like a butterfly, so that every person they touch, every other butterfly that is dormant, sitting there and waiting to fly, every butterfly they touch can also take off and touch other butterflies that are dormant. And then you can see so many butterflies just spreading all over the place. So for me, that is my leadership style. And I would love to, to see what other people say on your summit and on your platform and hear about their leadership styles, because they're different leadership styles. And I believe, regardless of the leadership style, we all converge to a certain point. We all achieve the same goal, but we do it differently. What I do believe in is that depending on the type of leadership, I'm hoping that the ultimate goal would be to hopefully solve the same problems in this case, because the purpose of a leader is to help solve problems or face challenges and so on. So my style of leadership is to inspire, is to give up my power into other people so that they can discover their power, and then the chain reaction simply just flows on over, whereby they inspire more and more other people to discover themselves, just like a butterfly. So every dormant butterfly, once you touch it, it flies off, it touches the next one, it flies off, and then before you know it, the butterflies everywhere. So yeah, and I love that kind of leadership, whereby you are motivating and encouraging other people to tap into their, their spiritual strength, their own power within them, to be able to help make the world a better place. Because the more leaders you have, the better it is. Actually, it makes a huge difference. Seeing what other people or hearing, actually, and seeing what other people have to say about their style of leadership, is something I've always looked forward to, because I see different kinds of leadership out there, and some, in my opinion, better than the others, because, these days or in the past, leadership has always been about being in front, being important. And to me, none of that means anything to me. It's all about empowering other people to find their strength within themselves, to be able to help with the load. If you have more people lifting, something that's heavy, you can easily lift it off the ground. But if you have one person trying to lift it, this, especially if it's too heavy for them, then you just can't achieve anything. So the more people you have with the strength and courage to be able to achieve something, the better. So yes, like I said, I really look forward to hearing more of that, from others, and understanding their style of leadership, and particularly to see how it gets to that focal point where it all merges. It just merges and solves the same problems and challenges in our society. So yeah.
I love that so much, Moses. So my next question was, where do you see the future of leadership going? But I think you kind of answered that one already as well. Is there
I
anything
believe
you
I
want to say to that? Is the future of leadership and where you would like to see it go?
It would be great if the idea of being a leader is to be there for other people. Naturally, we all discover our strengths at different times of our lives. Some discover it sooner than later, others much later in life. And because I particularly recognize the differences, within people and the different stages of development of people, it doesn't mean they don't have it. They don't have the strength within them. They do. It just takes them a while to tap into it and understand the power within them and how to use it. It would be great, in my opinion, that leaders out there, or people who class or believe they have the sense of being able to lead others, to lead by simply sharing their strength and power, and to do so in a way that it unlocks the strength and power in other people. Because the more leaders you awaken, the better for the world. Because if you have one mind working on a puzzle, it may be challenging to discover it soon enough. If you have two minds, it's better. If you have three, even more, far better than than normal. And if you have millions or billions of minds working on a puzzle, I believe we can solve a lot of the world's challenges if many people's leadership qualities can be unlocked. And I believe some of the leaders out there who've discovered their power sooner than most can help unlock others as well. So that's what I believe maybe the future of leadership should be like. The idea of unlocking other people's power within them.
I love that. I love that so much, Moses. And I feel so passionate about this summit and hearing the different conversations from different perspectives, like yourself and all the different keynote speakers that are part of the summit. They truly will be unlocking our doors of perception and helping us all see leadership in different ways. And I'm personally so passionate about leadership because I feel like it's been given such a bad name in a lot of ways from the abuse of power. And so this is my last and final question for you, is how do you feel about power?
I'll be honest with you. What is power? What does it look like? Is it because you willed someone's potential to live or die? Is that power? Is it because you have more money? Is that power? Is it because you can bully them? Is that power? All that is not what it is. It's not power at all. It's far from it. In fact, if anything, it is what it is. If you bully a person, that makes you a bully. That's not power. If you have more money than another person, that's just money. It's not power. If you wield someone's life over their head because you have a bigger weapon, that's all it is. You have a bigger weapon. That's not power. Power, in my opinion, is nothing short of a construct, a title, a word, another word to describe a general situation, depending on who is using it. I believe power is just in a state of mind. True power, in my opinion, even if it exists, let's put it that way. So I'll go with you on this. If power really exists, power is the ability to help someone discover their true strength, which, as it turns out, they already have. So you're not really giving anyone anything. You're just helping them explore and discover what's already there. And it's how you use that strength that determines whether your power is true or not. A true power is someone knowing how to share the strength they have within them. If you choose not to share your strength, if you choose to harm others with your strength, and so on, that's not power. It's not. I mean, I keep using that word. I keep saying it because I don't believe the word power. I don't even believe it exists. It's just a descriptive term, a general descriptive term. If we have to go with it, then power is knowing how to unlock someone's potential. And it has to be used for the greater good, not to harm others. To harm others, it changes the meaning of it. It becomes what it is. It makes you a bully. It makes you a dangerous person. It's not power. It's just what it is. So yeah.
I love that, Moses. I love that so much. Let's redefine these words that have in the past had so much energy and so much power, but only because we've given them that power and that energy,
precisely.
right?
Precisely.
And so how can we redefine leadership? How can we redefine what power means? I love that. I love that so much. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem.
I'm looking forward to the summit as well. And for all of you that are listening, if you would like to hear more from this beautiful, beautiful soul, Moses, he has shared so much wisdom and so many interesting ways of looking and feeling into what leadership means, but also what leadership can be, the new paradigm of leadership, heart-led leadership. So thank you, Moses. This was really, really powerful. I loved our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Schamet, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to all of the amazing things that you're doing for the community. Just love your work. And my children, my boys are learning so much from you. And just another shout out to Moses. You can look him up online. If you are living in the Wellington, New Zealand region and you have children, make sure you go online and look into what Moses is up to, because he is a visionary and he truly, truly loves children, and he's incredible at bringing out the best in them and switching on their lights within and creating incredible leaders on this planet. So Moses, can you share with me your website so that they can find you?
Yes, our website is pridelands.co.nz. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Moses. Thank you for all the incredible work you're doing.
Thank you very much, Schamet. I really appreciate that.